Pit bulls might take the cake for being the most feared dogs out there. Though the pit bull stigma has been slowly decreasing, one particular incident may prove that these fierce pups are actually more kind and caring than people give them credit for. When Robert McGowan experienced the fright of his life in his own home, he was petrified. This could have very well been the end for him. But when his two silver pitties stepped up to the plate, Robert was in awe of how his precious pups reacted. When Robert McGowan visited an animal shelter, he immediately took to Ella Belle and Ladybug, two frightened pit bulls. It was love at first sight, but Robert had no idea just how much these pups were going to mean to him. Considering many people refuse to adopt pit bulls because of the breed's crummy, unjust reputation, Robert felt that he needed to rescue them, even after considering their backgrounds. In their past lives, Ella Belle and Ladybug were unwanted and neglected. We'd rather not think about the awful things they've endured, but Robert was determined to give them the life they deserved. They fit right in Robert's cozy home. They're very docile and timid. They're not aggressive at all, Robert explained. He saw the two pooches as sweet couch potatoes, clearly standing up for the defamed breed. Though they were definitely mushy couch potatoes, when needed, Ella Belle and Ladybug would spring into action. When Robert spent an evening relaxing in his open garage in late 2019, he couldn't have predicted just how much he truly needed his girls. As Robert kicked back in his garage next to his car, four strangers suddenly rushed over to him, seemingly out of nowhere, and began physically attacking him. Fear struck Robert. One just punched me straight in the eye. I was knocked off my chair, he recalled. The four men angrily demanded Robert hand over his car keys. The nightmare wasn't over. Shocked, confused, and scared for the state of his life, Robert disclosed that his car keys were inside the house. He felt that he had no choice. Along with his car keys, Robert imagined them booking it with his laptop, television, and wallet. The would-be burglars, who confidently invited themselves in, had no idea that there were also two beefy bodyguards in the house, ready to defend their beloved master's honor. Those delinquents were in for a double dose of four-legged fury. When the thugs opened the door to Robert's home, they were greeted by Ella Belle and Ladybug, who put on their best tough guy faces and barked as aggressively as possible. Though it's hard to picture those mushes looking even a little bit scary, they're pretty good actors. The men immediately panicked, likely due to the fact that they were looking America's most feared dog breed in the face, ×2. With the dog's sharp fangs and prominent muscles, the bug-eyed group saw the potential to lose a few limbs. Afraid of how that square-off may have panned out, the group darted out of the scene without a car or any of Robert's other possessions in hand. Mission not accomplished. They chased them out. My girls ran into the garage and stood over me. They stood there barking, making it clear that no one was going to hurt me anymore. The four people took off, Robert said, proud of his dear dogs. Robert was lucky to only walk away with a black, swollen eye, as well as to still have a working car sitting in his driveway. He knew the debacle could have easily led to a more gruesome ending. All Robert could think of was how grateful he was to have his furry daughters. They got toys and treats. They got good stuff, he said with a smile. Ella Belle and Ladybug proved to be his true family. Though the incident was horrific, likely leaving Robert with awful recurring flashbacks, he hopes this story of pit bull heroism will inspire others to adopt from shelters. Adopt, don't shop, y'all. They are rescues. Unwanted dogs. They saved my life. Please consider adopting a rescue. They might save your life too, Robert urged. When we see photos of Robert and his rescued babies, we see a relationship centered around mutual understanding, companionship, and unconditional love. Robert was there for Ella Belle and Ladybug when they craved a loving home, and they proved that his deed was never taken for granted. In this case, the pitties in question were found protecting their own human, but believe it or not, pit bulls will even spare a paw for vulnerable animals. Pitties have so much love to give, and rescue organization Dallas Dog RR witnessed that firsthand. Dallas Dog RR had one mission: find a home for every unwanted, broken, or abandoned dog in the Dallas, Texas area. Rescuers had seen a lot of dogs through the years, but never a pooch like Pitty. When Dallas Dog RR rescuers first found the pit bull, she was wandering along a dangerous road in southeast Dallas. Avoiding the cars barreling down the pavement was actually the least of her problems. Half-starved, Pity just looked weak. When rescuers placed some food in a bowl for her, she wasted no time digging in. How long had she been on her own? How long had it been since she'd eaten? Apparently, she'd suffered more than starvation. Across her nose, Pity bore a nasty scrape. This, like her feverish appetite, only presented more questions about this dog's background. Clearly, she'd been missing the love and care that any pet needed. Then rescuers noticed something else about her. "It looks like she just had puppies," one of the rescuers commented. "So they were probably taken away from her." Had this poor mother pit bull lost her chance at rearing her kids? The realization had barely sunk in when rescuers received even more shocking news. Having found Pity near a junkyard, rescuers learned that one of the men working there had seen the pit bull hanging around a certain spot in the back. Was this where she'd left her puppies? Well, not quite. The junkyard worker led the rescuers to the back of the lot, where they found a little bundle of fur resting in a patch of dirt in the shade. But it wasn't a pit bull puppy at all. It was a kitten. Rescuers learned that at just 2 days old, this little kitty's mother had abandoned her, possibly because of health defects. Well, guess who'd found her then? A new mother herself. Pity had apparently found the perfect outlet for her untapped maternal instincts. The minute she spotted her adoptive baby, the abandoned pit bull instinctively sniffed and licked the newborn. She'd been doing a lot for the tiny kitten. Pity had been nursing the kitten, providing her the milk she needed to survive in a junkyard. Pity and Kitty had found each other in their dark times, and rescuers were understandably amazed. The rescuers who found Pity and Kitty brought the pair back to the Dallas Mercy Animal Clinic for inspection, and even veterinarian Dr. Rick Hamlin couldn't believe the pairing. "Over my 28-year career, I've never seen anything like this," he said. Dr. Hamlin theorized how the two came together. "My best guess is that the mother pit bull had a litter of pups, and they died or weaned, and she still had milk," he said. "The pit bull probably found the abandoned kitten and took it as her own." Lucky as this chance pairing was, the rescuers' timing proved even luckier. Pity's milk had run out. She wouldn't have been able to care for Kitty any longer, meaning the feline wouldn't have survived had the pair not been found when they were. Not surprisingly, Pity and Kitty stole the hearts of everyone at the clinic. Unfortunately, Kitty needed a lot of attention. Pressed for time, the clinic found a home that could give the kitten the extra care she needed, though it meant separating her from her adoptive mama. Right away, Pity hated being without her baby. "When I took Kitty out of the cage, Pity started howling," Dr. Hamlin said. It was the first vocalization she made since she arrived. Luckily, they weren't separated for too long. When caretakers returned Kitty to the clinic the next morning, Pity, bursting with happiness, cleaned and cleaned and cleaned her. At that point, rescuers devised a plan to have Pity and Kitty adopted as a unit. But then, out of nowhere, tragedy struck. Dr. Hamlin hadn't noticed it at first, but Kitty suffered from a malformation in her kidneys and bladder, likely the reason her mother abandoned her in the first place. Despite Dr. Hamlin's efforts, Kitty couldn't be saved. Kitty passed away before the clinic could find a home for her and Pity. How Pity took this development was unknown, but needless to say, the mama pit bull probably noticed her adopted kitten's absence. Could she ever have a happy life after that? Though it was without Kitty at her side, Pity eventually found a forever home where she received all the food and love she could ever want. Her new family already owned a few dogs too, so Pity fit right in. Though the duo of Pity and Kitty was short-lived, it no doubt touched the hearts of everyone who saw them together. Just watch Pity's excitement once she's reunited with her baby kitten.